4th highest in the octane rating for it, the highest in his team, the most goals per game. Like, the man was absolutely insane. So if he can keep that up, you know what? I say Pittsburgh Knights will win, but I do actually rate Soniqs' chances to give them a good run for their money if Rodes can keep up that super streak, super sub power.
And we've seen super subs in the past. Boyle, most famous, of course, being Turbo Pulsar. And as I said in the preview show, Turbo Pulsar from Sweden, the best player in North America right now. He was the super sub back in Season 3 for his World Championship run there. So maybe it's a Turbo Pulsar situation for Rhodes coming into this one, but time will tell.
Time will tell indeed, but Susquehanna Sonic starting off in the back line. ZPA going to put some pressure on. Off to the side he will go, trying to fight his way through. Rhodes has a touch out to Rodoko off the corner. It rolls up high. T. Carell, player coming from the collegiate scene, has made his way to the big stage and has proven himself to be an excellent player up there. But will it be good enough to take down the Sosa ZPS Rodoko squad? They've been making some good runs here and there, but an excellent finish this major, but putting him in a good standing for a potential top 6 position.
Yeah, and I mean, just hovering on the outside of that top 6 in the overall standings across both splits for Pittsburgh. Obviously finishing 7th overall in the winter standings, and in the overall standings, 790 points they have right now, so about 300 off of Alpine, the next above them. A good run here could send them to the moon essentially, and just rocketing towards those top 6 positions. Obviously they're going to pull away from local now Charlotte Phoenix in the overall standings because they didn't actually make the major. Pittsburgh Knights, good run here, could set them up for future endeavours going towards that World Championship.
Certainly so. Seen the likes of Ghost now doing well, beating G2, put some pressure on teams like Pittsburgh Knights. Other teams around that kind of area as well. Teams like Soniqs as well, all around that kind of area. When other teams like them are doing well, like Ghost Gaming, making these upsets, these guys have got to make the runs as well. These guys have got to have a good major, as all the points matter. It's double points from the regionals, of course, but that's like getting the same placement in 2 regionals in a row. Just think about that. Imagine you win the major, that's like winning 2 regionals. Okay, that's probably not going to happen for these teams per se, but just that double point aspect is such a huge advantage when teams are so all over the place, so inconsistent at times, that one good result in the major means so much. So we're going to see the best quality Rocket League we will see through these majors.
I mean, you never know. I mean, Susquehanna Sonics could make the run of the century and get to the final. I mean, just speaking to the guys at pickstop.gg, and they were saying two people have predicted Susquehanna Sonics to in their brackets to win this major. Just for fairness, one person has picked Pittsburgh Knights, so probably the social media admin over at Pittsburgh Knights has been the one to fill out their bracket on pickstop.gg and bring that one through. But I mean, it's interesting that the pros aren't even doing their own brackets and not predicting themselves. So we'll see what happens. But fairly standard back and forth in this game. Not a lot really been happening. That's why we're waffling quite a bit. Still 0-0 as we're down to the last minute and a half. Oh my goodness! And after nothing for a good 3.5 minutes, the first goal of this series is an own goal.
Well, we talked about nothing happening. Something finally happened. It was an own goal, but it happened at least. 90 seconds on the clock, and Pittsburgh Knights fight their way back after a lull of a game so far. But one huge error is what had caused them a deficit, and T. Carell going to keep control. Trying to make it 2 right off the kickoff. Will be helped back by ZPS, but going upfield, trying to get a touch on a ground pinch. Will not fall past Rhodes though. Good bump on Rodoko. Shock is up to the corner, taking it low, dribbling away. 5-1. Off to the side of ZPS once more, bringing it back in centre of the back wall, dropping down towards Rodoko. Can he challenge Shock in time? Off to the side, Rhodes racing for the ball, out to the midfield. ZPS trying to find something good past the Sosa. This shot not good enough. T. Carell ready for the clear away. And Sonics hold on with their 1-goal lead for the time being, but it's getting close for Knights. The pace picking up, but can they find something? It looks like a no at the moment, Crafters.
Yeah, right now Pittsburgh are fighting with everything they can to get through, much like Ghostware. Oh, is that going to go in from Rodoko? Oh, Sosa just pinching it back in, and that was probably the best chance that the Knights have had in this game so far here. The Sonics still holding on to their You would, some might say, lucky 1-goal lead off the own goal from ZPS. Look at this from ZPS, upfield towards Sosa, Shock will cut it out. And now Rudoko will set up maybe one last chance with 15 seconds to go.
10 seconds and counting. DPS, a last-ditch effort. Huge pinch. It could be a chance for a pass to Rudoko. The shot goes wide. Is there a follow-up from Sosa? Not good enough. And Rodas will let that touch the ground. And Soniqs take game one after some nail-biting attempts from Pittsburgh Knights. They just did not find the back of the net at the end of the game.
Yeah, and it was, like I said, just a fairly boring back and forth for most of it there. And Soniqs just end up taking the win. Let's have a look at the advanced stats here on the Rocket RB. 60% domination from the Pittsburgh Knights in that blue half of the field. And you felt most of the time that Knights did have fair control of the ball here, Boyle. But Soniqs just... those 3 saves from Shock were just enough to cling on and keep themselves going in this one. But, oh man, it's just sloppy Rocket League, really, from both teams. And I really want to see them tighten up the screws a little bit going into game number 2. I mean, hey, it's the major. You want to bring your A game and start pushing towards that top 6. And getting a good run here is going to do that for you, especially if you're Pittsburgh Knights, because you want to stay in contention for that top 6 to get to the World Championship, have a good run in spring. The performance like that in game number 1, it's not what we need to see from Pittsburgh right now. But we'll see how Soniqs fight back and see if they can hold on to this series lead.
I will say the defence of both of these teams that the pace definitely did pick up in the latter half of the game. As after that own goal was scored, things did start to pick up as the desperation came into fruition. But Pittsburgh Knights doing a valuable lesson there. It's not that easy to score against the Soniqs. They've got to do more. And they've got to do it faster. They can't just sit around and wait for a mistake to happen. They've got to be proactive in their attack, and they've got to cause the mistakes if they want to win. But, Rafters, they also have to not own goals if they want to have a chance at winning it as well. And with a new game, a clean slate is where they lie. Can a new situation occur where they take an early lead? Or will Soniqs keep their, not even dominant fashion, but control in their own half? That's what they've done so well. They've controlled the ball in their half. They may lose it later on in the pitch as it goes kind of to the other 2/3 of the field, but in their section, where they're in defence struggling most, well, they're not struggling, they are in full control, not a worry in the world.
Yeah, and just the contested balls rather that Pittsburgh Knights are starting to go for are just a little bit too sloppy, and they're losing these challenges most of the time. Look, T. Corral was in a awkward position bringing that ball across the face of the midfield. Now Rodas towards that top left corner. Super Sub gets his first on the board. But yeah, the positioning from Pittsburgh Knights has just been very, very poor. Sosa has no idea where he's going here, and Rodas can just put this in wherever he likes and get the first on the board here in game number 2.
Shock bullying the Pittsburgh Knights roster with the demo, with the bump attempt as well. Taking them all out, making it uncomfortable for him to make those saves, and it puts Soniqs in a 1-0 lead once again. But can they expand upon it? It's Shot with a flip reset, looking to do it. He misses his touch, a close attempt on the left, but ZPS in the counter. A flip reset, if you don't often a wave down, taking on the save. It's back in centre. Oh, ZPS wants to play, and he's showing off his mechanics well. Couldn't find the goal just there, but certainly a close attempt.
That was disgusting from ZPS, but you need to find the back of the net if you pull out plays like that. And I mean, like we're saying, Pittsburgh were in control for most of game number 1, and they've been really in control for most of game number 2, bar a couple of awkward positioning plays that have allowed the Soniqs to come upfield. But if you're in control most of the time, you've really got to show that on the scoreboard. And right now, a 1-0 defeat in game number 1 and a 1-0 deficit here in game number 2 is not showing that. You need to get this shooting accuracy up and start putting a lot of pressure, more pressure onto Soniqs, because I think if the Soniqs have this ball in their own half of the field a lot more often, they're going to start struggling, because you can see the awkward style of play that both teams are starting to go for. Although Soniqs now starting to find their groove a little bit, and now T. Corral teeing up Shock there. But Pittsburgh able to take this one away, but it's got to be a much tougher downfield presence from Pittsburgh.
Rudoko chasing that ball. Well, bring it in centre. ZPS misses out. Rodas knock up field over to Sosa. Turning on it, Shock will get a piece of it back in centre. dangerous for the Knights. They've got to get a move on. It's Rodoko to the backboard. Can he get the follow-up touch? No, he can't. But the ball will be scored by Sosa nonetheless. A game tied up. And back in action is Pittsburgh Knights as they have a chance once again to make it a 1-1 series.
And that kind of play can light a fire in any team, and that's got to be the fire in the belly for Pittsburgh Knights now. As we go into the final stage of this one, 1 minute 45 left here. And Pittsburgh finally get their first on the board, and it was a solid enough play, and that's what you want to see if you're a Pittsburgh Knights fan down this left-hand side and start to take control in the blue half of the field, because every time they've come into the Sonics half, they've given possession away far too easily. Need to have some more consistent pressure as Shock takes that one away, and now ZPS holding this midfield a la G2 as we saw in the Ghost game. At 1 minute 20 still to go, and Pittsburgh starting to roll.
T. Carell looking for a pass into centre. Will be denied by Sosa. Off to the corner he will go. The pinch attempt will be denied. Rodis on the ball once more. No boost in the tank. Rodoko advancing upfield. The ball set up high for ZPS to get a piece of it. Met by T. Carell. Down to Rodis. Chances starting to develop for the Sonics. The ball coming towards the centre. Rodis. A devil the net wide open.
Oh, what a save
from Sosa. Keeping the team alive. 50 seconds on the clock. The score 1-1. Sosa doing everything he can to keep Pittsburgh Knights in this game and the series.
Sosa single-handedly keeping Pittsburgh Knights competitive in this one, and still brings it down this left-hand side, and CPS can't get it past Roldes. This is Pittsburgh Knights now on top of things. The pressure that they have put up all series long is now starting to pay off for them. They're starting to get a little bit better position on their side, and starting to give Sonics a lot more to think about with 15 seconds to go. Sonics looking for their second. Roldes trying to touch it down. Shock takes the shot. ZPS blocks. 8 seconds to go. Pittsburgh still trying to go back downfield. They do not want to go overtime because T. Carell's here. Can't get it off the backboard. Down to Roldes and Rodoko saves. Oh my goodness, Boyle. A final flash of offense from both teams, but we go to OT.
Rodoko, the star man in the back line. 4 saves to his name. But can a goal be found for the Pittsburgh Knights to tie up this series? The ball in front of net. Rodis puts this off the post, but Sosa there to finish. 2-1 win for Knights, and they tie up the series in fraudulent fashion almost. But Rodis almost getting that save, but Sosa comes through and just finishes it off.
It's the demo one to T. Carell that just throws Roldes off just a little bit. He's expecting T. Carell to get that, but boom, he gets taken out of the equation, and Pittsburgh Knights get their first on the board. Heads up play but from the offense there from the Knights. 5 shots for ZPS. And he's made up for his own goal, I would say, in game number 1 here, Boyle. Hey, look at that, 50-50 in field domination stats. And like I look at the field domination stat a lot, and I looked at it a lot in the G2 game as well. G2 had 60-odd% every single game in against Ghost, and they still ended up losing. Here, it's much more even because Sonics are having their goal, Knights are having their goal, and it's more back and forth than I really would have expected. I thought Knights were just going to come and take this, but they've seemed quite weak in points. But that 4-save performance from Rodoko and that 5 shots performance from ZPS has really made a statement here, and Knights right back in the shot here.
Right back in at Knights. A little moment in the series. The first game started off shaky, to say the least, Crafters, but as time has went on, your wish has been granted, and it certainly has picked up in pace and in quality as well. And as we head to game 3, we know there will not be a sweep, but one of these teams will be heading to match point. Who will it be? Sonics or Knights? Your votes have been going in the chat, getting counted as well. The bets are on, the polls are closed. It's a matter of waiting now, giving your support to both these sides. Knights and Sonics, excellent show so far. Oh, Sosa almost getting an early goal. But Knights in a great situation, but the counter from Shock could spell disaster. Oh! Reset. It's not even the freestyle finals, that's tomorrow, but Shock is here to play early.
Oh, what a shock to the system it is for Pittsburgh Knights. 22 seconds into this one, and Shock just shocks the world. Oh my goodness gracious me, I had to watch that back on the stream just to see it a third time. Oh my goodness. What a play by Shock. And I was going to give Sosa a lot of credit, in this one so far for the Knights. He has been the real playmaker so far for me on that Pittsburgh Knights team. He's been everywhere where Soniqs don't want him. But Shock, I think if Soniqs are going to end up winning this one, it's going to come down to the play of Shock, because he has been one heck of a problem for Pittsburgh Knights throughout the course of this series so far. And I mean, when you look at the stats as well, he's the second highest shooter on the team, and but he's got the second highest goals as well. Excuse me. He's the average player, and I mean, you look at the stats, and really the average player, the guy in the middle, the second guy, he's the one you want to look at. He's the one who's going to be making all those plays, and for on the Soniqs, that's Shock.
We see as well on the Sonic side, TKRL been a bit quiet so far this game, but not to kind of say it's an issue with him. I would just say it's more Shock and Road at doing so much at the moment. TKRL has not been needed with the role he's playing. He's playing that third man role, and it's a testament to his teammates. He's not having to defend, as he has such a good control of that midfield, of that offense as well. The TKRL could just sit back and relax, but a mistake in the touch.
Oh.
And giving that ball to ZPS, the game tied up. Losing control, and that touch is going to haunt TKRL there as it just bounces in slowly towards the net.
Yeah, it was Sosa just coming over the top, just made TKRL have a double take at that one and not hit it into Sosa. Into Sosa, excuse me. That fake just faked him out big, and that has brought Pittsburgh Knights right back into this one. And those are the kind of plays from Pittsburgh that you want to see, the kind of just off-time plays, the ones you really don't expect to see from them. And look at this from Rodoko off the crossbar. Has he got a man in tow? Yes, he does. CPS can't make the shot as Shock gets the block. Easy for me to say that 3 times fast. But now Soniqs looking... No, I'll pass on that. I'll pass on that. But now Soniqs wanting to transition back downfield, and this has really been a really weak point for them throughout this season. Really for both teams, the transition downfield, it's really not been a lot of midfield play. It's been back and forth. But the transition upfield for the Soniqs has really been lacking, because every time they transition back upfield, they just give the ball away so easily and can't get another shot off.
So close to the Pittsburgh Knights, almost advancing to that leading position as Rodoko tries to bring the ball in centre. It will be denied by TKRL. Met by ZPS once more. Going to try and follow it, look for a bump on Rodas. Can't make it in time as he flies high to the sky. It's Sosa to Rodoko. Up high, he will go 50-50, brings the ball in centre. ZPS going for it to the backboard, keeping the pressure on for Pittsburgh Knights. But can Sosa do anything with it? Not quite yet. As the ball set up high, the clear will be found by Shock, dropping down to TKRL. Chances for Pittsburgh Knights having few and far between. When they come, they can be challenging. The Soniqs holding out for now in a one-apiece game.
Oh, Sosa making his intent clear here for the Pittsburgh Knights, and maybe for the last 30 to 40 seconds, it's been all Pittsburgh down in the blue half of the field. Not just that pressure relief for the moment. Soniqs again just booming out of field and no one's following it. Kind of what we saw from Ghost earlier on today. You never know.
Sosa, what are you doing? He's just going.
Say, what is he? Like, he has no right to be there. He has no right to win that ball. He had 0 boost and he still wins it. But Shock right back to the other end of the field, and still a tie game here, Boyle. And really, you can't call it. Although, touchdown from Roldez. Second man can't make the shot. 60 seconds to go. Pittsburgh back in control.
Rodoko to the backboard. TKRL misses his touch. ZPS on top. Roldez can't save his man. And TKRL, I don't want to call him out too badly, but that's 2 goals that I would almost put down at his fault for both of them. He needs to pick things up for this next game and the remainder of game number 3 as well.
Yeah, I mean, TKRL just came in with a lot more velocity than he was really expecting, and again, just Roldez gets caught out by it because TKRL is coming down and he's expecting TKRL to make that touch. And then Roldez all of a sudden finds himself as the third man, has to make that last play, and doesn't do so because he's not in a position to do so. But look at Shock right upfield. He don't care if TKRL's making mistakes in the back line. He's making up for it upfield. 38 seconds to go. Tie game.
A good pass from TKRL to find his man. A top corner banger from Shock. Tying up this game. 40 seconds on the clock. I wouldn't be surprised to see an overtime for this game or a free crafters. But Shock, he wants to say otherwise. But the bulldozer Bowser takes him out, and Shock will find himself a hat-trick. 3-2 to Sonics, and they have came all guns a-blazing to win this game.
A big battering ram from Roldez opens up the net for Shock, and when he's got the ball in his car, you cannot stop him. Sonics have been super quiet here in this game number 3. But finally they have started to make a statement of intent, and Shock has been the one to bring it to Pittsburgh Knights. 23 seconds to go. Pittsburgh need all they can muster if they want to get this into at least overtime.
Clear away, gonna be met by Roldez. Out to the side, Pittsburgh Knights 10 seconds to score, 10 seconds to tie it up. It's Sosa centre, but great clear by T. Carell. One last chance for Rodoko on the 0-second mark. He can't get it past Roldez and all the way back. Sosa does catch it, but the ball does fall, and Sonics send themselves to match point.
And who would have thought that after the performance really that both teams were putting in the first couple of games? I thought that first game was just really an anomaly, and it was obviously that one own goal from ZPS that swung the tide. But and then Knights battling back in game number 2. But here in game number 3, Knights had a lot of control. Like, you cannot deny they had a lot of possession in this one, and they just gave it up so much. And I mean, I criticize Sonics for not taking control in the Pittsburgh Knights half. But when they got those breakout chances from Shock, they just ran with them. Shock was phenomenal in this one, and just picking his moments to take Knights out of the equation. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen here in game number 4 if Knights can get back into it, because I think if Knights go down here, I can see them losing their first round lower bracket game. I don't see them progressing. And to be honest, honestly, whoever wins from me here is drawn the short straw, because whoever wins here needs to play Envy.
Well, playing Envy is going to be a difficult task for whoever makes it there, and I pay my respects to them in advance, I might say, to be honest, Crafty. But
F's in chat, boys. F's in chat.
Pay your respects to whoever has to play Envy next. You know, I think maybe more of a punishment than a reward for winning this game. But nonetheless, they'll be fighting for whatever they can get, and any win is a good situation as well if they do lose to Envy, which isn't a guarantee, to be fair. They could get the upset. They will, of course, get, in theory, an easier team in the lower brackets. So, and also for Glory as well, they'll be fighting hard. They want to win. Nobody wants to lose. The Sonics and Knights, they've got a lot of fighting to do.
And I mean, we talked about it with Ghost, in the Ghost G2 game, that the winner of that is playing, now Ghost is now going to play Space Station. And really, when you go against these top 4 teams in the early rounds of a bracket, that is when you want to prove yourself. At least say, you might not necessarily need to win the game, but at least to prove you can go toe-to-toe with them. If whoever wins here can take Envy to game 5, watch out, because they're going to be a tough team to take on later down the line.
Sosa, the clear away, met by T. Carell. Roldez tapping that to the ceiling. Downfield, it will go from Shock. T. Carell bulldozing now, taking inspiration from his ex-coach, now teammate Roldez. It will not work out just yet, and now the scoreline remains. The Susquehanna Sonics going to try and take this one home, try and find this goal, take the series here. Pittsburgh Knights holding on well for the time being.
Yeah, just holding on to this midfield yet again. And Sonics are spending a lot of time in their own half of the field, but Shock has been the one to break the mold of their defense. But like, off the backboard, just everything breaks down in the blink of an eye. ZPS has one shot onto net. And what I was going to say there, Boyho, was that Shock has been the one really to start to break the mold of the defense. When Sonics have got settled into their defensive roles, they tend to stay there until Shock gets that breakout play. And I think, like I mentioned, if Sonics are going to win this one, it's going to come down to the play of Shock.
The ball tapped up high. Rodoko downfield. Shock past one. Roldez to follow. The shot is on target, but what a save from Sosa. Keeping that one out, keeping Pittsburgh Knights alive. Half the game left to go, and the game remains 0-0.
Oh, look at Shock trying to make it 1-0. Can't get the angle off the backboard. Now this is the time for Sonics to start to rally. Look at Shock painting that top left corner and gets the first one on the board for the Sonics. And now they are just under 2.5 minutes to go for a date with Destiny with Envy, and it might be a shock to the system for Pittsburgh Knights to go down to the lower bracket this early.
1-0 Soniqs. If they can hold on to this lead, they will move to the next round and send the Pittsburgh Knights to the lower. The battle of the locations, which one will reign superior? Rodoko keeping Pittsburgh alive, finding one to tie up the game.
And Sosa and Rodoko, I said shock was going to be the factor on Soniqs to win. Rodoko and Sosa are going to be the factor on Pittsburgh Knights if they can get their passing plays off just like that. That is going to be the reason if Pittsburgh Knights win this series eventually. They have to take it to game 5, and I think Rodoko and Sosa are starting to figure that out. ZPS has just been a non-factor in my opinion, to be quite honest with you. An own goal and a couple of lackluster plays, but Rodoko and Sosa have been the two main guys on Pittsburgh, and they need to step up if they want to take this game number 4 and force game 5.
Tika Rail, take the ball upfield, looking for a touch on it, going with the dribble, fakes out ZPS, the ball comes up high, over to shot, a chance to bring this game back into Sonic's favour, in comes centre, the touch, saved by ZPS on the line. What a defensive masterclass from him right there. Will they keep surviving though? 90 seconds on the clock, clear from Rodoko, upfield he's trying to go, but Tikarel said no. Sosa, the clear to the side, over to Rodoko, he misses his touch, it's Rodef to take things slow. ZPS will challenge, and a clear out to the side, 1 minute on the clock. Crafters, I don't know if Sonics will find the goal or not, but Knights have put on some performance in this back line.
Well, the speed has been turned up to 11 here, both teams going ham for it. And they know they do not want to go to overtime, both teams. They want to get it done in regulation. And this is Pittsburgh Knights' opportunity to try and make that happen and force that game number 5. Rodoko gets the pass from ZPS. Sosa now in that corner. And again, Sonics just slowing things down, dictating the pace, as they have done throughout this series, or throughout this game at the very least. Pittsburgh Knights really need to get back in control of the tempo of the game and start to make Sonics play towards their level of aggression. They need to get some aggressive plays going back downfield. 30 seconds now. Can Pittsburgh do it?
Time is ticking. 20 seconds and overtime looking possible, but Tikarel and Shock might just say no. They go high. The ball comes centre. It's Super Shock to find the goal. Make it 2-1. 12 seconds left. Is that it, Crafters?
And who is it there to make the play to set up Roldes? It is Shock. Wonderful play off the backboards and sets up Roldes with 12 seconds to go. Pittsburgh Knights need to go quick, but they had to win that kickoff. They did not. Roldes will just play this into the corner to try and bleed this clock dry. One final upfield pass from Sosa towards net. Rodoko's there. Can he keep it up? Golden save by Shock. Oh, denies Knights the wondrous 0-second goal to send us to game 5, but it's over in 4. Sonics take the win. Sonics go on to Envy. Pittsburgh Knights in the lower.